Tattoos have become extremely popular over the last decade. What does having a tattoo involve?
So tattooing is basically inserting ink into the skin, and to do that we use a series of needles on the end of a needle bar, and it goes to the top layer of skin just before the fatty layer, and it stays in that layer of skin.
But as tattoo popularity increases, so does illegal tattooing. Illegal tattooing involves any tattoo procedure that is carried out by someone who is not registered with a local authority in which they are operating from. And it is illegal for anyone to tattoo a young person under the age of 18, even with parental consent. There are growing concerns surrounding illegal tattooists, also known as scratchers, who are setting up unregistered businesses and lure you in with the offer of a short waiting time and cheap prices.
I think you'll find most of the difference will come in the quality of equipment. Quite a lot of the time you'll find a lot of the needles are blunt, which is going to cause trauma to the skin. The machines do not run correctly. Again, it's going to cause sort of more pain and increased risks of damaging the skin.
Scratchers have little experience of tattooing and how to do it properly. They often tattoo people in a bedroom, kitchen, or garden shed, and use substandard equipment and inks. Choosing to use a scratcher will mean that you are more likely to receive a poor quality tattoo that is painful and puts you at a greater risk of contracting an infection and suffering from other health problems due to their unsafe, unhygienic practices. A registered tattooist will provide good customer care. Having a tattoo will be painful, but a registered tattooist will make the procedure as comfortable as possible.
So, first of all, I'm going to give you a little line just to let you know what it's going to feel like. It's going to be sharp, so just try and stay as still as you can, but like I say, keep breathing. Don't worry that I'm pushing on your stomach, just breathe as normal. I'll end up flowing with you.
Inexperienced illegal scratchers lack the skill to handle the tattoo machine correctly and will often overwork the area and chew up the skin, causing intense pain and bleeding.
One of the major problems with tattooing at the moment is people who are completely inexperienced in tattooing, and obviously you are essentially performing minor surgery, and you could end up overworking the skin, which obviously creates a lot of heavy scabbing, which then can lead to infection.
I think before you have a tattoo, it's important to know the risks of having a tattoo. There are many and varied, and some can be more extensive than others. You could have a skin reaction to the tattoo, which could mean an infection. There's also a risk of bloodborne diseases. A particular case that we've been dealing with is a lady that's had a tattoo that has been infected, and there was a query whether there's an allergy or infection. We think that it potentially is a contaminated ink that's caused this infection. She's been having treatment now for nearly 2 months. She's still going through treatment. She's had 2 lots of surgery. She's had numerous amount of antibiotics and is now had the tissue in the whole of the area and surrounding area of the tattoo removed, and she's had to have a skin graft taken off her thigh to cover that area.
If after having your tattoo you feel unwell, have a high temperature, a red septic tattoo site, contact your GP for advice and treatment immediately. As well as bacterial infections, having a tattoo also carries the risk of blood-borne viruses like hepatitis B, hepatitis C, and HIV being transmitted. These viruses can cause serious life-threatening illnesses and can be transferred into your body if the equipment used during a tattoo procedure is contaminated with someone else's blood. This is a particular concern amongst illegal tattooists, as they will generally have poor hygiene practices and dirty premises. In contrast, a registered tattooist should comply with a high standard of hygiene.
I think one of the main differences is obviously the work area that we use is specifically designed for tattooing. We make sure every single surface is cleaned down correctly and is washable. There are no porous surfaces, on with regards to the chairs, armrests, and obviously the work area. If you are getting tattooed in someone's house, the likelihood is there will be spillages and there will be splashes, and you could then sort of pass blood onto carpets, wallpaper, furniture, and the next person to then sit on that could obviously come into contact with that blood, and that is a point of cross-contamination.
What if I change my mind? Tattoos are permanent. Removal is very expensive. It can be painful, take a long time, and may leave scarring. There is no guarantee that removal treatment will work, and it could leave you disfigured.
I did look into having laser treatment. It's very expensive, and it wasn't a guarantee that they could remove it. It was very thick and dark, so I was basically just put it to the back of my mind. I thought, oh, it's going to be there forever. It wasn't until me and my husband decided to get married that I said, I really want to do something about it. I want to wear a dress that I can show everything off. So that's when I started looking into other things. I was told that a friend of mine had a tattoo taken off. Basically, they tattooed back into your skin with, it looks like foundation, and it reacts to the ink and brings the ink to the surface. I had that done, and I had a reaction to the stuff that they put into my arm. I ended up with cellulitis. My arm was very swollen and all like saggy and puffy, and all the ink had gone and sagged. So I was on antibiotics, and it was really sore, dry, scabby.
Before you ink, think. You must be over 18.
My first tattoo, I was 17. You have these sort of impulsive decisions to get a tattoo. You don't account for, obviously, when you're 17, you're still growing, But as time's gone on and as I've done more training and just generally got bigger and wider, it's actually been a little bit disproportionate now to my actual body shape and size.
Do your research. A tattoo is with you for life, so think carefully about placement.
First word, I want it on my ankle, so then it's if I can cover them up, if I don't want people to see them. And for jobs, I've made sure the one on my wrist is not too far down my arm, so it doesn't affect me in jobs when I'm older.
Never get tattooed after drinking alcohol or taking drugs. Always use a registered tattooist. Only registered tattooists are inspected by the local council.
You don't really know until you go somewhere and have a look. So it started off with like basic research like that, like looking around, because you don't want to just go somewhere and say, yeah, I'll have that, and then have it and then go, actually, it's not as good as I wanted it to be. It had loads of certificates, so you know that they're like registered, they're like a real shop, they're not just some randomer out of a van who's just gone and started drawing on you. They also wore a lot of gloves. The area which you get tattooed was separate, so you knew that none of the bits from the shop front could be affecting any of the tools or anything. They had loads of coverings on the chairs which they took off after each person, all disposable needles and stuff, which is really important, and disposable gloves.
Registered tattooists should get you to fill in a medical questionnaire, talk to you about the placement of tattoos and the possibility of job stoppers. Always wear gloves. Use fresh, sterile needles and ink for every customer. Have sterile equipment. Have clean hand-washing facilities that they use properly. Give clear advice on how to care for your tattoo. Remember, before you ink, think. Choosing a scratcher puts yourself at risk of infection, which can be fatal. There is a reason why illegal tattooists are cheap. You don't want to be the one who pays the price.